Hello, Keith Rucker at VintageMachinery.org. Well guys, I'm going to put together another odds and ends video for you today, and we got some viewer mail we want to go through. I also want to give you a couple of updates on some things going around here in the shop. First off, I just want to say things have been kind of rough on me the last couple of weeks as far as having shop time and getting video work done. Mainly just because I've been on the road traveling a lot. I took a little vacation that I do every year with some buddies of mine, and then I also seems like have several work-related trips have just kind of backed up week after week, and that really cuts into my evenings when I can slip out here in the shop and get some things done. So I really haven't had a whole lot of content to be putting up, and I apologize for that. Good news is that we're about to get into the winter months here, and usually November, December, particularly December, I'm home a lot. In fact, I take most of the month of December off from work, and I plan on getting a lot of stuff done in the shop then. So good things coming up. I got some good projects lined up, and I think you guys will enjoy it. But for today, what I want to start out with is some viewer mail that's come in. Some of the stuff has been sitting here for quite a while, and I just need to work through this and get it on so people can be recognized for sending stuff in. I got some books, got some tools, and oh yeah, I remember. So we got some good stuff over here. So let's get into it and get going. So first, everybody knows my love for old books, particularly mechanical and engineering type stuff from back in the day, and that's what we've got here. This comes from Steve Thompson, who is out in Austin, Texas. He sent some stuff in before. Goes by the Cheesehead Texan, and Steve said he saw this in a used bookstore and thought of me. And let's see what we got here. Class of 1926, Robert M. Brown. I always like to kind of see that kind of stuff. Steam Power Plant Engineering. This one is published in 1925. And this is the 6th edition, rewritten. Copyright in, so 1908, 10, 13, 17, and 25. So anyway, nice little book here. Got all kinds of steam power plant information in it, and as you guys know, I'm always interested in steam related stuff, so this will be cool. Anyway, we'll put this in the library, and guys, I use these books. I've said that before. When I'm working on a problem, here's a whole chapter on reciprocating steam engines. We got several of those out at the museum. So we run into a problem, I pull out these old books and look up information in them, and this one will be used just for that. So Steve, thanks for sending that in. Appreciate it very much, and we'll give it a good home. Next item here comes from Mike Clayton, and this one traveled a long way to get here. Mike lives in Christchurch, New Zealand, and he sent along a tool for the shop. So what we've got here is a micrometer, but not just any micrometer. This is a metric micrometer, 0 to 25 millimeters. And I think he may have been watching a previous video where another viewer had sent in some metric micrometers, and he sent in a nice collection, but I had a couple of gaps in my measurement sizes there, and one of them was a 0 to 25. And he was kind enough to send one along to me. This thing looks practically brand new. Wow, that's really nice. So anyway, I've said this before, I don't have a whole lot of occasion to do measure in metric. I just, being here in the United States and working on mostly old stuff, pretty much everything I have is in inches, or everything I work on is in inches. But sometimes you just need to have some stuff to do metric, and I've always gotten around that in the past by just converting everything over to inches so that I can do my measurements in inches. But it's always nice to have the metric measuring tools so that you can actually measure in the units that you want to end up in. So very much appreciated. I'll put these over with my other metric micrometers and measuring tools, and I'm sure at some point in time we'll be able to put these to use. So anyway, thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks for thinking of me, and thanks for sending that in for such a long distance from New Zealand. That's a country I would love to get to go visit one day. Anyway, maybe one day we'll make a trip down there. Thanks a lot, Mike. So up next here, guys, I got a whole box full of books that were sent in by Elliott Jones, who lives out in Riverside, California. I'll go through these, kind of let you show what all he sent along, just a lot of varying different things here. Basically said he had a few old books that he purchased years ago at various book sales, no longer needs them, and thought I might want to give them a home. So Shop Mathematics, this is a War Department technical manual from World War II, so right toward the end of World War II, it looks like. I'm just going to go through these real quick. Mathematical Tables Handbook for chemistries and physics. So anyway, got all your I got all the tables in here that our modern day calculators will do for us. You know, I think it's funny because I remember back when I was in math in high school, we still had to look stuff up in the tables. We had calculators, but most of them weren't the scientific calculators that would do these kind of functions. So anyway, kind of neat. And yes, I actually still use those from time to time. The use of Handbook for Tables and Formulas, another math book here. Here's a neat one, Elementary Turning. And this was actually wood turning, I believe. Yeah. I had looked at this previously. This is a pretty old book, kind of neat. Let's see, it's got a date in here. There's a picture there. Look at that old picture of the woodworking shop. Let me zoom in there, we can see that. So there's a old line shaft powered woodworking shop at the University of Chicago. Pretty cool. I would have liked to have seen that back in the day. Copyright 1907. Pretty cool. The steel square and its uses. You know, I've got several steel squares like that, and I had no idea that there was so much you could do with it, that there were entire books written on it. And this is actually volume 2. So I'm going to have to look at this. I know you can do some pretty neat stuff with them, but wow. And talking of steel squares, practical uses of the steel square, also volume 2, a different book, but yet also on using the steel square. Kind of cool. Modern Carpentry. Let's see what year this was modern in, 1927. Pretty cool. Look at their bricklaying and arch. You know, there's a lot of stuff in this book that would probably be considered obsolete, but yet at the same time, look at that, making a lap joint there. I've seen those kind of joints in old buildings and stuff. So anyway, this will be really neat because I just like doing things the old way sometimes. And pretty cool. Here's a well-used book, Kent's, what is it? Kent's Mechanical Engineer's Handbook. Have notes written all up in here. This was probably an engineering student's book. You can tell it's been well used. Very nice. Swingle's 20th Century Handbook for Steam Engineers and Electricians. Look at that nice engine there on the front. Let's see what year this one was published. 1910. Horizontal boiler. This will be fun to look through. Pretty cool. And last book in here is an American Machinist Handbook, the Colvin book. This is kind of an alternative to the Machinery's Handbook. It basically has a lot of the same type of information in it. I actually have another copy of this. This one's 1940. This is a great reference book in the machine shop. You know, I always say you need to have a copy of Machinery's Handbook, but this one here is another really good one. It has just, again, tons and tons of information in it. And sometimes I will look things up in both books. If I'm looking for information, sometimes it's just written up differently and maybe a little bit easier to understand or whatever in one book versus the other. So that's another nice addition. I keep one book out in the shop, and I like to keep one in my office too. But I do that with Machinery's Handbook because I'm always working on stuff in the office, in the house, and I'll probably put this one in the office so that I have a second copy. So Elliott, thanks a lot for sending along another nice collection of books. We'll put these in the library, and we'll definitely probably get a chance to give some of these a look sometime and put them to use. So thanks a lot. So last weekend, we had our work weekend out here at the shop, and one of the gentlemen that came, Forbes Matthews, brought along a gift, and he had actually contacted me ahead of time, wanted to know what size large drill bits I needed. He had seen in the video that, you know, I pretty much got taper shank drills up to 1 inch, and I'm still trying to fill in some holes on the bigger stuff, stuff greater than 1 inch. I sent him a list of what I had, and he brought along some extras from his collection. So let's look and see what all Forbes sent along. So first off, we got this great big, this is a 2 and, was that 5, 30 seconds, I think, taper shank drill. This is a number 5 Morse taper, which will fit in my big Carlton drill press now. Here's another number 5, and this one is, I think that one's a 2 inch. Got a 1 and 29/30 seconds. This is a core drill, which is fine. When I'm drilling that big, I probably wouldn't be drilling a hole without having a pilot hole first. 1 and 13/64. 2 1/4. 1 and 47/64. 1 and 25/30 seconds. 1 and 29/64. 1 and 21/64. 1 and 33/64. 1 and 17/30 seconds. 1 and 5/8. And last one here, 1 and 23/30 seconds. So we got a nice collection of big taper shank drills here, and I'm going to take inventory of what he sent me so that I can keep track of it. I've got a little spreadsheet I got on the computer in the house of what sizes I have and what sizes I don't have. So if I see something on the computer, I don't have to run out to the shop every time. And as soon as I do that, we'll get them sorted out and put over. I got some little bins over here that I'm storing these bits in, keeping them organized. And anyway, thanks a lot, Forbes. That'll be a big help in filling out these larger bit sizes that I need. So thanks a lot. So update on the Carlton drill press. So last weekend, of course, we had our big work day where I had folks come out and they helped me get this machine, for the most part, stripped down to get the old paint off of it, get it cleaned up. And over this past week, I've actually been on the road a little bit, but I've had some evenings at home, and I've been coming out here every night and cleaning it up, painting a little bit along, and just trying to get this thing where it's back up and going. It's still a work in progress. I've still got quite a bit of work to do on this, but as you can see, I've got most of it painted now. I've still got to get up to the top part. I got to get up on a ladder and finish up at the very top, doing some cleaning and get that painted. That may even be out of the frame, but also been pulling all the parts off of this and cleaning it up, putting it back on. You know, I've gotten a little flack from some folks that I haven't taken the head off of this thing and really just gone through it. I have taken some pieces off and kind of examined up in here. Guys, I really just don't see a need to do that. This machine, I believe, is pretty stable and sound. And my philosophy, I guess, is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's no reason for me to go into this head. If there ever is, I'll do it. I actually have the manual on this, and it talks about how to take it all apart. Gives step-by-step instructions. So I can do that if I need to, but I'm hoping that that's not going to be necessary. But like I said, we have been taking some pieces off, cleaning them up, getting them back together, and like I said, it's a work in progress right now. I do have my main motor wired in. We put a new motor starter on there. I've got all that wired in. I've tested it out. It's not plugged in right now, but this is the on-off switch, and it's all working. I talked in the previous episode that my motor that raises and lowers the head here that powers the screw that moves it up and down, it's got a short in it or something, I'm not sure. I've actually got that motor pulled off. I got it pulled off this weekend, and I'm hoping to have time this week to run by the motor shop here in town, T&S Electric. They're really good about working on old motors, and they've got a rewinding shop and all that. But anyway, have them check it out, figure out what's wrong with it, and see if we can fix that motor. If we can't, I'm going to be up the creek probably. It is kind of a specialized motor. I'm not sure that I can get something that quite like that because it's an in-mount motor to replace it. So anyway, we'll see. I've got to take it up there and see what we can do. I'm sure they can work their magic and get me back going, even if we have to rewind it. But anyway, we'll see about that later on. But as you can see, this machine is really shaping up. Like I said, I've still got a lot of work to do to it, but it's really turning out nice. I'm very happy with how it's looking, and I can't wait to actually get out here and start drilling some holes with it, which we should be able to do hopefully fairly soon. So anyway, just a quick update on that. Well guys, that's pretty much what we wanted to cover in this episode. I'll also just briefly mention that we got another scraping class coming up this coming weekend. It's a 5-day class. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday this coming week. Looking forward to having some folks coming in on that. Part of my time this weekend, I've been kind of getting the shop ready for another class, which means getting everything cleaned up and kind of getting things organized to put on another scraping class. It is my intention during that class to really focus on the Monarch 16-inch lathe. I'm to the point of getting the saddle scraped in on that, so I'm going to be working on that this coming week, and hopefully make some good progress on that machine so that we can hopefully have it up and running here fairly soon. We're getting pretty close, so I'm pretty excited about that. And I'll also just mention that we did have a little project that I was working on in the shop this weekend. It was a fairly small project. I ran into a little roadblock, had to order a tool that I didn't have. I needed a special boring bar, and so hopefully we'll have a little video coming up on that. It's going to be doing some boring on the horizontal milling machine. It's not anything really fancy. It's actually going to be doing some work with some plastics, which is something I don't do a lot, but hopefully we'll get a little short video out of that I'll be posting up here pretty soon. And with that, that'll be a wrap. Thanks you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you later.